right here. Huh?
You mind if I video you?
No, go right ahead. This is what this is for. So we have some, looks like some kind of fungal thing going on here. All right. Oh, good. We have some splits. I'll take those out. Okay, and then we have, well, this is, looks like a chalcid fly damage. Looks like it got eaten on right there. And then there's some more splits. Okay. Everything looks, there's a crack, it breaks. I go over and I'm looking at, oh, there's some slips. That means the seed coat is coming off.
Is that because it's got a little bit of moisture? At some point,
it could be that, or it could be mechanical damage. Now, once I get everything pretty much close to the same thing, okay, I got some slips. I've got insect damage, some more slips, some fungal things going on, and splits. So now they're pretty well the same thing now. And notice I really didn't get too much, because it's too hard for them to see things when you like pile in, 3 or 4 ounces or 5 or 6 ounces in there. So now I've got some other things. Now I want to try to get things that you'll see in it. Like for instance, here's a common weed. This is sourdock. You'll probably see that in there. Also, we have, this is some pigweed that I may decide to put on it. And of course, it's rotated with wheat, so I'm gonna get some wheat. So I got some wheat. Now, what happens is you're trying to teach them the curricular code, which basically states weed seeds are a problem, but if it's common weed seeds like this or pigweed, it doesn't bring it down too much in the class. But if it's another crop like wheat, it will bring it down. And another thing that I like to do, but not always, I like to put in some kind of like noxious weeds, so they learn the noxious weeds. And believe it or not, I have some of those weeds here. Where are they?
Is that all on the curricular code, how it's laid out in terms of...
it goes, like for instance, for small-seeded legumes, they have a particular way you should judge them, and then everything else is kind of like this. So, very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple of these. This is field bindweed. I'll just toss them in there. See if they can find them. And I'm going to probably add another handful of this, maybe. Probably put a little bit more, but probably not. I don't know. So, first thing I did is has field bindweed. All right. I'm going to make one look a little trashy. So I'm going to put some splits, some slips. And let's put some insect damage in there. See if they're splits, slips, and insect damage. All right, so that was 3 and 4. I'm gonna put some fungal stuff in there too. Why not fungus?
Really hating on that number 1 guy, huh?
Well, and not so much that, because this guy's the worst, and this is really clean compared to this, but it has some noxious weed in it. See if indeed they can actually pick that out. And if I could really be nasty, I could just pull that one out altogether, because it's a smaller sample. I'm gonna put it back in there. So now I'm really choosing that sides here. Now, the next thing I'm going to put a few wheat seeds in it because a lot of times soybeans are rotated with wheat. So now this right now has a common just a common grain, another crop in it. So the only thing that would make this thing maybe, let's take a little bit of, because it's do I want to do that? Yeah. See, so we got soybeans. I could put corn in it, but I'm not going to put corn in it. I'll just put a little bit of this in it. And that's sourdock or curly dock. And this has wheat. Now, this is a common weed. Common weeds are not a huge problem, especially if they're this size. You just put them through a couple of screens, boom, it's clean. This, on the other hand, because it is rotated with it, it's going to be more of a problem. So the order for me is pretty simple. 3, 4, 1, 2. Very close between these two. I might even change it. But on 3, it's the curricular code. You should have a deduction of about 20 or 10. I'd have to look it up. I think it's 20, but I'm not certain. This has a deduction of about 5, and this has a lot of things wrong with it. It's going to have to be cleaned up quite a bit. Your insect damage, fungus, and the thing that makes it different is which are reproducible factors. Well, all of them contain something that's reproducible out in the field. Although this one is just a condition problem, and condition is usually worse than anything else. So I think, and this is more like a 25-point deduction, and this is a 20, and this is 5, and this is like no-go. You're automatically on the bottom because it's noxious.
Noxious weed.
Yeah. So that's how I would set up a class, and that's how I would train them is make sure there's a point to it. Make sure that there's a reason why this is going to be a close cut. This should be relatively apparent. This should be like maybe 1, and this is like 5 to 7, and I'll just make it 7 because I'm nasty. I feel nasty today. So those are the cuts, and these are just, my idea.
What do you mean the cuts?
The cuts are the severity of points you're going to miss if you get switch a pair. So, for instance, let's say I did 4, 3, 1, 2. You'd have a deduction of 3 points. You get a 47.
Okay.
If I switch the bottom pair, like for instance, and we said 4, 3, 2, 1, then you get a 43 because you have a 7-point deduction. And if you get them all screwed up, who knows what you have to there's a calculator for it. So.
And you said they always need to have a purpose?
In my mind, when I'm teaching them, I want it to have a purpose as far as why are they in first? Why are they in second? What is the difference between the first and second? What's the difference between second and third? So they should be able to articulate that well enough to somebody else. It always has a purpose, hence the name reasons. There's a reason that they're where they are.
Cool.
And so that's how I create like new classes. I get some new seed like from down in Merced. Is it Merced? No. Was it Merced? It was